Hi, everyone. Welcome to the season 2 kickoff of LodeStar's Lending Leaders. This is an extra special episode, partially because we're still here after about 8 months, which is longer than most podcasts and probably longer than a lot of other folks expected. So I consider that a win in and of itself. But it's also going to be a little bit different to start because although this season you're going to probably see a little bit less of me than normal, not this episode. We're going to start with having a good friend, an industry colleague of mine, Brian Rieger, come in and interview me about some of the things that we have going on here with the podcast here with LodeStar going forward. For those of you who don't know Brian, he is principal, CEO, president, janitor, custodian of True Impact Communications. He is also runs a podcast himself, Three Guys in an iPod or iPad. I forget which one it is.
Doesn't matter.
We'll plug that later. And most notably, he was the person who convinced me to start this podcast probably about 3 years ago. Got the bug in my ear, and it just took a global pandemic to actually happen, and no more traveling to podcasts. So, Brian, thanks for coming on. Going to hand it over to you so you can ask the questions this time around.
Well, thank you, Jim. It's really a pleasure to be here. And yeah, it only took about 2.5 of those years to get you to create Triple L, and look where it's come already. So
hey, you never told me this would be this much fun to record.
I only once or twice, or maybe 1,000 or 2,000 times, but sure, whatever, you're right. But no, I tell you, it's been great watching the show grow, and we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to turn the tables on you, and we're going to talk a little bit about the success that LodeStar has been. We've got some exciting news coming up, so let's hop right into it, shall we? Let's start with the year. 2021 has been a great year for you guys at LodeStar. You're one of the 2021 HousingWire Tech 100 honorees, which is no small honor at all. You've announced a ton of integrations or partnerships, Dytrix, LendingPad, Blend, Mortgage Coach. And then from what I can see, you're just getting started. So let's start with the year. What kind of year has it been for you guys? And what do you consider really your biggest wins or accomplishments this year?
It's been a blast overall, and tough. I mean, I can't believe it's already September with everything going on. Tough question to answer. I think it's been a fun ride with everything, and it's hard to believe that last month was our 8-year anniversary of a company that started in my tiny 1-bedroom apartment in the East Village of New York City. So it's come a long way, and even leaps and bounds to go. I think it's true to the saying of it takes years to be an overnight success. So a lot of people coming, oh, you guys are everywhere, you're doing all these things. In the back of my head, I'm always like, well, we've been here for a while, but you just have to keep your mouth shut and say thank you at the end of the day. So I think the gut connectivity has been great. Launching new products has been fantastic. Adding new clients, supporting the clients we have. Honestly, the biggest success for me is clients coming to me saying, I don't know what I would do without the solution. You guys are saving me so much time. You're making the job easy. I love dealing with your team. I love dealing with X member at LodeStar. Is great. And I think that's been the big difference over the last year or two, is scaling beyond what was just a 2-3 person company into the teens now and beyond. And I always joke that this year for us was kind of corporate puberty of, having to get myself out of the day-to-day, having to grow a scalable sales operation, a scalable marketing operation, which you helped with quite a bit. And I think, this September, if anything, is to go with the puberty analogy, is, some combination of our quinceañera, bar mitzvah, sweet 16.
Outstanding. Yes. And it really has been a pleasure to watch and be a small part of that. Mm-hmm. And for those who don't know you as well, Jim, from the get-go, when you were a small shop even, you've always been vision driven. You've always stuck to a particular vision. Mm-hmm. May not always, sometimes it's hard to tell if you're making a quick podcast appearance or whatever, but you've there's a lot of places where the vision is build the company and sell it, make some money. And that's the extent of it. It's not written. It's just kind of what it is. But you have a very particular vision. And as we come into the final few months of the year and even into 2022, you're about to amplify that vision and put a very specific, kind of put it out there for folks to see specifically. So let's introduce the 3 C's. Tell us about them, where they come from, and what are they going to mean for LodeStar clients and for the industry?
Sure. So the 3 C's, our core values are clarity, connectivity, and community. And I'll kind of get to our vision and everything to grow off that in a second. But those are something we put a lot of thought into, both with the products we give, the way we act with ourselves, the way we manage, the way we interact with our clients, and the industry and overall community as a whole. And for us, as someone who helps tell you how much you're going to pay when you buy a house, clarity is important. We help with one of the most confusing processes and one of the biggest transactions of people's lives, buying a house, or just dealing with a mortgage in general. So anything that we can do to add some clarity to that, the better. Personally, I like the idea of just a lot of clarity in dealing with clients, potential clients, employees. Selfishly, it's just going to save you time being upfront with people of what's going to work, what's not going to work. And I think honesty is something that you respect. So from what we do on the podcast to the things we mentioned to the things we put out there, that's first and foremost. Connectivity for us, you had mentioned kind of some new products, some new integrations, new partnerships that we've been introducing and will continue to introduce. For us, that's the real value in the industry that most companies, most mortgage companies, most title insurance companies, they don't have the ability or the bandwidth or the time or the money to connect all of the different systems out there. So we're going to go ahead and do it for you and then help you utilize those connectivity, those pipes that we built in a way, so that you can send data, you can send fees, you can send your information and improve the overall mortgage process, make everything go faster. So that's kind of with our product where connectivity comes into play. Also for me personally, if it wasn't for personal connections, going to conferences, talking to people, you and I met at a bar on a Monday night of an MBA annual conference in DC. That was actually after we met at another conference where you kicked me out of a party as well, which we figured out.
Twice, as a matter of fact.
Oh, right? Yeah, I was pretty persistent, actually. I did get into that party eventually. I do want to make that known that I did
drop the gates halfway through everything.
Yeah, I did get in sooner or later, but that was, just I'd be remiss if I didn't bring that up. So connectivity is really important to us in the industry, because from connecting people, from doing the podcast where we're connecting people with the rest of the industry, it's something that's always been near and dear to my heart. And I think a big reason for our success over the years. And then the third C, community, the idea that you're part of a greater community, whether it be the LodeStar employees, the LodeStar clients, the industry as a whole, your local community, and anything we can do to help with that. And some of that can be big, some of that can be small. For us, one thing that we like to do is anytime we're at a conference now, you're not going to see put in your name badge and win $100 to Amazon. I'm sorry, people can get their own stuff from Amazon, but what we will do is we'll always use that opportunity to raise money for a cause. So you put in your name badge, you apply for something or other, or pass along your information. We're going to donate to Feeding America. We're going to donate to a different charity, right? So any example that we can have to do that, supporting causes, promoting causes on this podcast, having this podcast in general with different voices in the industry coming out is something that's really important to us going forward, and hopefully something that as we grow, we'll be able to do more and more of. So that's kind of the 3 C's in a nutshell: clarity, connectivity, community. And that goes with our overall vision of just making the mortgage process less confusing. I mean, right now I sell calculators to loan officers at the end of the day. It's a very back-end process, but it helps the borrower more accurately see how much money they're going to pay when they buy a house. It allows them to shop. It allows loan officers to save time and save money. So we're helping to alleviate that confusion a little bit. We have products coming out, our lead generation product, LodeStar, that hopefully does that even further by actually having a consumer-facing product and helps with eliminating some confusion around the process, seeing very clearly how much money down you would pay when you buy a house. My wife and I were talking about putting money down to buy a house recently. So I pulled up that calculator. I said, okay, this is how much money everything's going to cost. And she just kind of looked alarmed at the total amount there. So it's a useful tool when you're having those conversations with a spouse, and you're not the one making the fees. You're just saying what they are. So I highly recommend using that tool for any conversations like that. Another product that we have to help eliminate confusion is our Mortgage Sentinel, our secret shopping service. We help see how loan officers are interacting with clients. It's really good in a competitive market to see what you can do, be doing better. There's always a lot anyone can be doing better. And we're also doing a lot now with what are called fallout surveys. So even the best lenders out there, they only get about 40% of the folks who apply for a credit, who they run credit on, actually closing. 40% if you're doing well, right? So that means in some cases, 2/3 or even more of the folks that come through your funnel aren't closing. That's a huge opportunity. So we go in and we help determine, why are those folks falling out? Are they still interested in a mortgage? What can you do going forward? So those are some of the things we try to make the process less confusing. I would really just want to do that more and more. For myself, being a millennial, we see a lot. I've had friends who have masters in finances, really intelligent people, even in the finance industry, have no idea going through the process, asking me things, not realizing what title insurance is, not even realizing what I do in the industry, which is more of my fault than anything else, to be honest. But just not really being aware of all of the different components of what's going on, what they can shop for, what they can't shop for. And I think that hurts the consumer at the end of the day, because they're just going to do whatever kind of the first person they talk to says. In some cases, that's okay if that person has their best interest in mind. But the more you empower the consumer, the less confusing you make the process, it's the better for everyone.
Well, I'll tell you, Jim, you mentioned a lot of good stuff there, but we're talking about a transaction that can take over 50 days to close. So I would suggest that even something as small as a closing calculator can make a world of difference. And you're coming into a competitive purchase market now, where every little bit's going to mean the difference for lenders. You mentioned that the magic words fallout for Mortgage Sentinel.
Yeah.
And not only cutting time and cost is going to be increasingly important to lenders, but if you can increase those, or improve your fallout rates as a lender, it's going to be very important. So I don't know that I've heard of anything small there. And in an industry and in a transaction this complex, I'm not sure there are any small elements, truthfully.
No, especially if these are folks that you already spent time on or already in your system. It's a sunk cost right now. So if you're able to raise the debt, so to speak, and reinvigorate some of those leads without involving the time of your loan officers, that'll be better, right? That can only improve the process. And I think people looking at operations, looking at technology in particular, are always looking for that silver bullet. What's that one platform that can do everything, right? And I don't think it's out there at the end of the day, unless you just really build it yourself, which only so many companies in the industry can really do. And even then, they're going to be relying on a lot of partners. So in lieu of a silver bullet, you just need a lot of lead ones, right? And you need things that work well together. So I think that's important. If you're able to save 2 to 5% here, 2 to 5% here, 2 to 5% here, 10% here, that all adds up at the end of the day. So you have to really look for those slow and steady wins. Something I try to do as a business operator, and something I really encourage folks in the industry, other people running businesses, to do as well.
Well, and of course, you've written about that before. It used to be that, cradle to grave, end to end was the big buzz term or whatnot. But you're hearing more things like tech stack. I think maybe that reality is sinking in, that several good parts designed to work together and work well. And we already mentioned the multiple integrations that we didn't even talk about what LodeStar already had on the table. We're just talking about 2021. Obviously, you work with now ICE Mortgage, but Encompass, and you guys work with the big boys out there. So
no, I mean, Encompass has been a great partner now for 5+ years. I'll promote our newly redesigned website that lists all of our partners now, which I'm really excited about, because it displays everyone, and we have a lot of great partners out there and a lot of connectivity to other systems in the industry. So definitely check that out. Sorry, I forgot where exactly we were.
No, well, I think actually you just took my next question out of my mouth. You have some big news. There's something else coming along. It's actually live by the time you see this, but let's share the word. What else is new at LodeStar?
Yeah, we've, long time coming. We have redesigned our brand a little bit, redesigned our website. Thanks to all of there are a lot of folks, yourself included, involved with this project. Took the better part of the year, but I'm just happy that we have kind of a brand, a website, a resource that's more in line with all of the things we're doing, and kind of captures everything in a better way. So that's exciting. I think we finally, to use my company puberty analogy, we kind of have that nice, pretty dress for the party now. So we're really excited to get it out there, to show it. We're getting wonderful feedback. Invite everyone to check it out. I think it's just a better resource for all of the different things, not only the partnerships we have, but all of the media, all of the kind of knowledge that we're putting out right now, from this podcast to our weekly blog, to our weekly newsletter, to other kind of thought leadership articles. That's our goal, of getting out there as much as possible, hopefully being a resource, providing interesting things. If nothing else, having you listen to this podcast while you try to fall asleep, but whatever works.
Well, I'll tell you what, I will say that this may end up being the only mortgage podcast that comes up under the search term puberty after this one. But I think your point is very well taken. And,
Yeah.
LodeStar's always, you guys have already put a lot of great content out there. That's going to be, the effort's going to be redoubled. But let's also say this, the fourth quarter for everyone is going to be exciting. It's going to be busy. There's a lot of things going on out there. It's a change of market cycles and whatnot. But as that fourth quarter, I don't know if the fourth quarter ever really settles down, but as we move on into 2022, what's next for LodeStar?
I think for us, it's growing beyond the calculator. I think that's been a core part of what we're doing and something we want to continue to grow. And really the nuts and bolts of our business, of getting those accurate fee estimates out, getting more integrations, getting that data to different parts of the transaction, whether it be further up with a POS system like Blend, like Be Smarty, or further back in the process, verifying the information. We're a very small part of the transaction right now, but very important because it sits at such an important time of getting documents out to consumers determining if they want to move forward or not. So it's really interesting to see where we stand there. And I think for me, looking forward is having that insight to transaction, having the volume of transactions that we do, 1 million plus a year going through our system. It's what other value can we bring from other services to other products, to just other things to our client base, other things to the industry right now. It's kind of our goal moving forward. We'd love to, just continue to do that. You made the comment about people kind of growing a business to sell. I have too much fun doing this, and I'm not sure if I'd be the best person to get managed by someone else. So we're just going to keep growing this company for now and see what happens, because we're having too much fun.
Well, it's been a lot of fun to be a part of that ride, Jim, and it's certainly it's fun to watch it all come together. Before we go here, I do have one more question, and it's a question you asked most, if not all, of your guests. What gets you up in the morning and excited to come to work?
I always say to people, I didn't start LodeStar or continue to do it because I'm passionate about mortgage calculators. I'm passionate about running a business, growing a team, helping clients. And that's what I enjoy, whether it be seeing team members grow. Some of the folks who we've been able to kind of amplify and put in this podcast, and you'll see more of our team going forward. That's incredibly rewarding. Seeing clients that we have over the years grow, it's been great to be a part of that. Probably the thing that gets me the most excited is where a client or someone in the industry or even a friend comes to me and says, "Hey, Jim, could you guys do this?" Or "I'm having this problem. What can I do?" I want to have as much of that as possible, because that's how you make yourself a resource. That's how you get new ideas, and just keep on growing. And I think for me, always figuring out a way to solve problems has been something really part of what I did in the future, throughout my life. I was kind of a quick aside here, because we're not quite over on time yet. So I'm going to tell a story because it's my podcast, damn it. But
your podcast, that's right.
When I was in 5th grade, we had this day, every Friday, math class was problem solving day, and you would have a word problem. And poor Mrs. Smith, who was a great teacher, she would give everyone the word problem for math, and I was dead set on being the first one to finish it, almost to the point where she would start writing out the problem. I remember getting my notebook and hitting myself on the head with it to try to solve the problem, and sometimes still finishing it first. I was just always very good at math, so that was part of it, but it became more problematic when other people in the class were also hitting themselves in the head with notebooks to try to finish the problem faster. So it ended up being a little bit of a problem for Mrs. Smith. But
well, at least they weren't hitting you over the head.
Yeah. So something that always had, for me, it was just the idea of solving problems, right? Whether it had been word problems in math, studying engineering to solve problems. You have a whole lot of problems to solve running a business. So that's something I've always been really passionate about, and, putting myself in a position to keep on solving problems for ourselves here at LodeStar, for our clients, for folks in the industry, for consumers in general, is something that, I have a whole lot of fun doing.
Well, I'll tell you, Jim, you guys, it surely shows. And it's exciting what's been done in just this short little bit of time, this 8-year overnight success. There's still plenty of challenges to be met in the industry. So I look forward to seeing where you guys go next. But best of luck to you and the team at LodeStar. That's all I had for today. So maybe I'll give the con back to you. This is your ship after all.
Perfect. Well, Brian, thank you for all your help over the years. It's been a great relationship. Anyone who runs a business in the industry needs to talk to you. In terms of, wrapping this off, please go to our new website, LodeStarSS.com. We'd love any feedback. Check out all the information out there. And we got a whole lot more to come. So, strap in for the fourth quarter. It's going to be fun.
Thank you for listening to LodeStar's Landing Leaders. I'd like to give a special thanks to Brian Rieger and Elena Gardner, who help us create this podcast every week. Please remember to like and subscribe the podcast wherever you listen to it. It helps us a lot. Thanks. Talk to you next week.